This will be a no bullshit video that will show you exactly how you can fast track your way to making 10K per month as fast as humanly possible as a high ticket closer. And it's the exact same framework that I use myself to make over 300K in commissions in the last 12 months alone. So with that being said, guys, let's dive right in. How to make 10K a month as a high ticket closer in 2023. I'm going to dive right into it, guys. Number one is make sure the company you're selling for is actually the right company. And there's ways of dictating this. I know so many people find this very, very difficult. There's a lot of people that have videos on YouTube that talk about like how to find the right company, but they don't even talk about the specific nuances. Don't worry, guys, I'm going to dive into it here. You guys want to make sure, number one, that the company revenue in itself that you guys are choosing, right, their revenue is at least 50K a month bare minimum. Because if their revenue is below 50K a month, you're literally wasting your time. Why do I say this? Well, let me pull out my calculator here, right? If you guys are doing 10% commission and the company's doing 30K in rev, that's you are only making $3,000 if you get 10% commission, right? And if you guys are like, let's just say even getting 15%, because some companies, what they do is in the beginning stages, guys, you can always negotiate commission to be a bit higher. It could be like 15 or it could be like 12%. Even then, let's just say 15% commission, guys, on 30 grand. That's like 4.5K, right? Which is pretty shit. So you want to make sure that the company revenue is at least at 50K. As an example, if it was 50K and you guys were closing 50K worth of deals every single month and you got 15% of that, that comes out to 7.5K. Things are looking a lot better here, right? Now, number two is you want to make sure that new revenue coming in every single month is actually coming in from sales calls generated. This is a part where you have to be careful because some companies can be a bit misleading when it comes to like the amount of revenue that they're making, because you might be thinking, oh wow, like this company is doing 100K a month in revenue. No way, like I can actually make a ton of money. But you guys need to understand that there's like three main methods companies can make money. They can even have direct funnels and like just have like an add to cart if they have like some companies even do this with the high ticket info products, by the way, which I know is crazy, but they do it. Second way is obviously with like sales calls taken with closers. And the third one is like they can even have affiliates, right? You want to make sure that when you guys are actually interviewing the company that you're looking to close for, you actually ask them like, hey guys, when it comes to the revenue that you're generating, how much of this revenue is actually coming in from like calls being closed every single month? Very, very important, okay? And you want to make sure the number is decently high, at least above 90%. Quality of leads coming in. Now for this, obviously like most company founders are gonna probably just inflate this and be like, yeah, our leads are warm, they're relatively easy to close, this, that, this. But you guys want to get a pretty good gauge of this when you actually start selling the offer. If you notice that most of the leads are basically ice cold, I'd recommend hopping off the offer. Now, it's funny because if a company is doing roughly 100K a month in revenue, leads are not going to be cold. I promise you they're not. This is more so common, guys, with companies that are more so like starting up. They're doing anywhere between, I'd say 30 to 40 or maybe even 50K a month. A ton of their leads might actually be cold, but you want to make sure that the leads aren't really that cold. Look, eventually when you get really good at sales, you can close colder leads, but in the beginning stages, you guys will really, really struggle and it's just not worth the headache. So make sure that the quality of leads is actually good. You also want to be wary of the average closing rate of the company on sales calls taken, right? This is also very, very important. Typically, you want to make sure that the closing rate is bare minimum above 25%. If it's below 25%, that's a red flag. You also want to look at company growth rate over a 90-day slope. The reason this is important, guys, is because the way that I want you to look at it is sometimes when you guys are looking to close for a company, you're basically investing in a stock. Why do I say this? Well, some companies, guys, their revenue isn't the best right away, but they're actually growing at a pretty rapid rate. And you want to be aware of this. As an example, the company that I was closing for when I first got started, they were at like 50 to 60K a month in revenue, and they blew up really, 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 really fast. Like 6 months after that, they hit like 250K in revenue, which was ridiculous, right? That's how I made so much money. Now, I wasn't really aware of it at the time because I was just winging it, but I want to make sure that you guys aren't just relying on luck like I did, and you guys actually have a logical method of figuring out which companies you should actually be allocating your time towards and investing your time towards. And looking at their growth rate is a pretty good way of doing that. If you notice that a company is at like 50K, 40K a month in revenue, but the month prior they were at like 20K, the month prior they were at 10, stick around, right? It's going to be worth the ride and they're going to grow really, really fast. Last but not least, and also this is by far like one of the most important aspects, I'd say company revenue, and this is probably the second most important, if not the most important, is average OTE of company closers. This is very, very important because you'll be able to dictate right away, potentially how much you can make just based on how much their closers are already making. If you notice that they already have a closer, but the closer is not really making much money, it's a pretty bad sign, guys. So you want to make sure that if they do have active closers, their commissions are already pretty decent, because if they are, it's going to be very reflective of how much money you guys can actually make. Number 2, guys, is learn how to close at a high level. Right? Getting a golden opportunity is half of the recipe when it comes to hitting 10K a month as a high ticket closer. You guys want to make sure that you're actually capable enough in closing the actual sales call at a high caliber. And this can only be done by learning, from those ahead of you that have already closed millions in sales. Look, guys, myself as an example, when I first got started in sales, I was pretty average. Now I had, tons of experience from running my agency in terms of sales and just practicing ruthlessly. And I'd say I'm pretty much a natural at sales as well. And I did okay, but the moment that I actually got coaching, my commissions freaking doubled. I went from like 10K a month to like 20, 25K a month. Like within like literally the next month, right? It was ridiculous. And I really, really wish that I actually worked with somebody a lot faster that knew what they were doing. And more than that, a lot of you guys that are beginners thinking, okay, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of what Hassan told me. I'm gonna go to some Facebook groups and apply for these gigs. You guys need to realize that these companies typically have a filter system, right? So what they do is, even if you lie in the interview and you pass the interview but you don't know how to close, they'll give you 4 calls to test anyway, and if you suck, they're gonna just get rid of you, right? And you don't want to be the person, you don't want to be the person who got an incredible opportunity but got fired because they did not know how to close. Or you don't want to be the guy who has an incredible opportunity but is underperforming on the bottom of the roster and on the verge of being cut from the team, right? Working with an expert can rapidly increase your ability in a reasonable time span, guys. If you work with somebody that actually knows what they're doing, it does not take that long to actually get good at sales. And look at it this way, you don't know what you don't know, right? It's funny because I see common sales advice is review your own sales calls. I think it's one of the worst advices that I've ever heard, because how are you going to be able to review your own sales call if you don't know what you're doing? Review your own sales call with an expert. That's how it should actually be said, because an expert can actually tell you what you did wrong. If you knew what you were doing wrong, you wouldn't be doing it in the first place. That's the thought process that I want you guys to have. And number 3, guys, also one thing that I wanted to mention as well, some companies even have tiers for closers, and those that close more are obviously rewarded with a better compensation structure. So if a lot of you guys just don't know how to close and you guys are going to be relying on just luck, even if you get a little lucky, you're going to basically just be stuck with the same compensation plan forever. And if a better closer comes along, you've lost the opportunity. And for the last one, guys, stay persistent. I don't really have any notes right here because I wanted to just talk with this one off the cusp from the heart. Guys, you want to make sure that in sales, number 1 is you guys are staying very, very level-headed, and number 2, you guys aren't being lazy. With sales, it's the closest way of actually experiencing what it's like to run a business without actually having the headache of running a business, which is why I love sales so freaking much. It's incredible when you're just starting out. And even if you want to stay in sales for the rest of your life, honestly, it's not a bad idea if you want to stay making multiple 6 figures profit year after year. The best closers can make upwards of 40 to even 50 grand per month in cash profit, right? Well over $500,000. I know closers that make $1 million in commission a year. Sounds insane, guys, but it can be done. But none of this is going to be possible without staying persistent. You guys want to make sure that, number 1, you guys aren't running from company to company, right? When you guys are applying for a company and the company seems promising, just because you guys aren't making what you expected to make within the first month, don't run away. Stick with the company. Actually see what happens. Get better at sales. Work with an expert. Figure out where things are going wrong, right? Number 2 is I want you guys to actually go ahead and take this seriously and take as many calls as you guys possibly can. Look, everyone has different goals. If you guys want to make 5K a month, I get it. Okay, fine. Take a part-time gig, cool. But if you're anything like me and you're doing this because you want to change your fucking life and you want to take care of your family and you never want to have to worry about money again, don't be lazy. Guys, I was working 7 days a week and I was taking literally 7 calls a day. Now, look, I'm not saying you have to do this. Get it? That's kind of insane. But guys, even now, after making a crap ton of money, I still work 6 days a week. I still take, anywhere between 6 to 7 calls a day, guys. So, staying persistent and understanding why you're doing this in the first place is going to take you so far. and it's going to ensure that you guys are actually leveling up way faster. I've seen closers that make 5K a month and they just stay there for months. And then I've also seen closers that literally hit 10K in their first month in commissions, and then they hit 20 to 30K a month a few months after that. What separates guy A from guy B? It's all about what their mindset is, right? The second person, person B, is actually looking to go ahead and turn this into a full-fledged career and make the best out of the opportunity. Whereas person A is looking to just go ahead and make a couple grand a month and say, hey, this is casual, it's like a lifestyle type of thing that I'm doing. So it just really depends on what you guys are looking for. So guys, stay persistent. Again, there's no shortcuts to this thing. If you guys can actually apply all three of these principles, again, picking the right company to sell for, learning how to actually close and working with an expert, and again, staying persistent, there's no reason as to why you guys will not hit 10K per month as a high ticket closer in 2023. If you guys are looking to fast track your progress and skip the line, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down below where you guys can go ahead and speak with me personally one-on-one, and I can go ahead and give you guys a walkthrough of exactly what I did to go ahead and master sales and make over 300K in commissions in my first year in high ticket sales. And again, if you guys are a struggling agency owner who's looking to go ahead and actually make a change, you're tired of running an agency, you're tired of running a business and just not really making any money, any profit, and you're looking for another vehicle, go ahead and click the link in the bio below, and I'll see you guys there.